Cancer is the leading cause of death among children in the United States. How a new act could change that next. Plus, you can help the MS Society just by picking up your phone. The latest on this weekend's Beepathon in just a moment.
We certainly had some pretty decent storms in the area last night. A few more that continue on this morning. But what about our chance for rain for the weekend? Details on the way.
Live from your local news leader. KAMR Local 4's Today in Amarillo in high definition starts now.
Good Friday morning. It's June 8th. I'm Angelina Perez. Thanks for waking up to Today in Amarillo. We'll have more on those stories coming up in just a bit. But first, let's look at your weather with meteorologist Chris Martin. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Angelina. Good morning, folks. We do have a few thunderstorms that have popped up close to the city of Amarillo. Let's take you right to our downtown tower camera looking back to the southeast. And occasionally we'll get a few lightning flashes out there as we continue on with some minor thunderstorms, maybe some small hail and gusty winds. Here in town, 71 degrees, wind from the south at 39 miles per hour at the moment, at outflow boundary continuing on overhead, and you can see those storms across the southeastern parts of the city over towards the eastern half of Amarillo, continuing off towards the south. But again, nothing severe this morning outside the lightning, so of course if you hear that thunder, head indoors. Afternoon time, we'll look for highs in the 90s and a few 100s, and this evening we'll have yet another chance for storms moving in. We'll talk all about that in just a few minutes. Right now, I'll send it back to Angelina.
Thank you, Chris. An Amarillo man dies after a wreck yesterday morning. Troopers responded to a crash south of Hale Center at the intersection of I-27 and FM 37 in Hale County. DPS says a pickup was exiting the interstate, traveled up the embankment on the service road and hit a bridge. 78-year-old Charlie Harrison from Amarillo was pronounced dead at the scene. A man wanted by Amarillo Crime Stoppers has been arrested in Nebraska. Federal officials arrested 19-year-old Johnny Holguin Jr. in Lincoln, Nebraska yesterday. He was wanted out of Potter County for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. An Amarillo man has been indicted in Smith County for livestock theft. The Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association says they started investigating 43-year-old Walter Madsen after an Arizona company accused him of selling their cattle. Investigators believe that Madsen was hired to transport the cattle from a nearby auction to San Angelo, but instead took them to a meat packer in Hereford and sold them as his own. The cattle were worth more than $23,000. Madsen faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted. Childhood cancer research will be increasing after the STAR Act is signed by President Trump. That research will have an impact on kids right here in the High Plains. We are your local election headquarters. This week, the president signed the Childhood Cancer Survivorship Treatment Access and Research Act. It will help expand research, help improve efforts to identify cancer, and work to enhance the quality of life for survivors. A pediatric oncologist will also be added to the National Institutes of Health.
Children are not small adults. Their cancers are different, and even the same cancer, when it comes to adults, it actually manifests differently. I mean, it attacks their body differently. The treatment is different. The side effects are different. So, who else can advocate for these children better than a pediatric oncologist?
Cancer is the leading cause of death by disease past infancy among children in the United States. More than 10,000 children are diagnosed every year. For related headlines, you can head to our website, myhighplains.com. Curry County could restrict sales and use of certain fireworks, but they want your opinion on that. Today, the Curry County Board of Commissioners is holding a meeting to discuss the proclamation. The public is asked to attend and provide input. The meeting begins at 9 this morning at the Curry County Commissioners' Chambers. The Amarillo Club's plan to reopen has changed. Instead of reopening on the 30th, as they had previously announced, the date has been moved up to June 15th. This is after they notified members of their plans to close, and members raised funds to keep the doors open. They have several events planned to mark the reopening. They will remain a private club, so a membership will still be required to attend. Some fancy cars made a pit stop in Amarillo as they travel across the country. Currently, the Trans-America Rally is traveling from Charleston, taking in the sights and scenery and making stops in different cities along the way to Seattle. Yesterday, they stopped at Route 66 Motor Speedway to show off their rides and compete with some rare and antique cars. Beefathon is back, the perfect way to fill up your freezer for a good cause. That's in today's Heart of the High Plains. The Beefathon is a unique fundraising event benefiting the MS Society. Texas cattle feeders have teamed up with the National Multiple Sclerosis Society every year since 1970, raising tens of thousands of dollars each year to help create a world free of MS. You can bid on sides of beef and tons of other great prizes in a live auction by phone event.
Beefathon, it's a wonderful annual event, and we are very much hoping to raise somewhere around $40,000 for the event this year.
That fun will kick off on Sunday afternoon at 2 and runs until 5. You can watch it live right here on KAMR Local 4. More than a week later, the Ute Park fire continues to burn. That fire started on Highway 64 in Ute Park between Eagle Nest Lake and Cimarron. So far, it has burned more than 36,000 acres and is 96% contained. More than 200 structures remain threatened, and Ute Park still remains under evacuation. More than 600 personnel are assisting in fighting that fire. Heavy rain and thunderstorms caused flash flooding in areas of Oklahoma. Drivers in Oklahoma City were encouraged to stay off the roads as heavy rain and thunderstorms moved through the metro. Severe thunderstorms started moving across central Oklahoma on Thursday morning, bringing heavy rain and lightning to that area. Many roads in northwest Oklahoma City were flooded around 11 yesterday morning. Some cars were underwater near a popular intersection near Memorial and Penn. It's now 5:36, so it's time to take a look at your local weather and